Welcome back to the Acceptance Project podcast. I'm your host, Bryan. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. And for those of you who have returned each week for the podcast, welcome back and thank you for your support. Today's podcast is about identifying your strength and knowing your village, which are those around you who provide support. Some days just showing up looks like dragging yourself out of bed when motivation didn't even bother to text back. And sometimes it's just hitting play while your brain is loud and your heart feels heavy and your day seems to be on autopilot. Either way, you're here, and that matters more than we tend to admit. So if you're listening today, feeling worn down, unsure, or maybe even proud of yourself for surviving a week you honestly didn't think you'd make it through, you're in the right place. This is for the tired fighters, the healers who are still healing, and the people who are stronger than they realize, but haven't quite caught up to that truth yet. So get comfortable, and let's talk about what strength actually looks like and how to recognize it in ourselves. Today, I want to talk about strength. Not the loud kind, not the chest out, highlight reel, hey, look at me, nothing bothers me version, which usually means someone is very bothered and very tired. They're just really good at hiding the exhaustion. I want to talk about real strength, the quiet kind, the kind that doesn't need an audience, the kind that rarely gets posted, liked, or applauded. It's the strength that shows up when life hands you something you didn't ask for, didn't want, or definitely didn't plan for. Such as loss, disappointment, rejection, change, the moments where you honestly don't know how things are going to work out, but you're still here anyway, still breathing, still trying, still moving forward, even if forward feels slow and awkward and uncomfortable. Real strength isn't about never breaking. It's about realizing that you can bend and still stand. It's learning that asking for help isn't weakness, resting isn't quitting, and feeling things deeply doesn't make you fragile. A lot of strength is built when no one is watching, when you keep going, not because it's easy, but because giving up would cost so much more. Now let's talk about the village. We hear the phrase, it takes a village all the time. Raising kids, building community, healing, but we rarely stop to ask the question that matters most, and that is, well, who is that village? Because here's the truth, the village isn't everyone. Not everyone gets a front row seat to your life. And especially not everyone deserves backstage access. That's not cruelty, that's wisdom. Your village is made up of the people who want to see you win. Not just when winning is shiny and impressive, but when it's quiet, messy, and still very much in progress. Your village are the people who help you and encourage you throughout the entire race, not those that just show up at the end and help hold the trophy. A lot of people say things like, I want to see you win, or I want all your dreams to come true. Those words sound great, but the village proves it through consistency, not captions. The village is the friend who checks in when you go quiet, the coworker who believes in you even when you don't, the mentor who tells you the truth without tearing you down, and the family member who loves you without trying to edit who you are. Sometimes the village is loud and encouraging, and sometimes it's the one person sitting next to you in silence, because words aren't what you need right then. I think about the old Winnie the Pooh and Piglet story. They're walking through the woods and Piglet says, "Hey, Pooh." And Pooh responds with, "Yes, Piglet." And Piglet says, "I just wanted to make sure you were there." That's it. That's the village sometimes. Not cheering, not fixing, just being there. Holding the net in case you fall. And here's something we don't say enough. Your village might not look like you thought it would. It might not be the people you grew up with. Might not be those you thought would always be there forever. That doesn't mean you failed, it just means you grew. Strength starts to show up when we stop forcing connection and start honoring alignment. A lot of us have confused those two for a long time. We stay in rooms that feel very heavy because we've been there forever. We keep explaining ourselves to people who already decided not to understand us. We hang on to relationships out of guilt, obligation, or that fear of being alone. We tell ourselves loyalty means enduring anything, but endurance without nourishment eventually turns into exhaustion. Forcing connection sounds like telling yourself it's not that bad. It looks like shrinking your truth to keep the peace. It feels like leaving conversations more tired than when you arrived and wondering why being yourself feels like so much work. Alignment feels different. You feel it in your body before it makes sense in your head. Alignment feels like exhaling, like you're not rehearsing what you're going to say, not performing or translating or defending who you are. People don't have to agree with you, but they still respect who you are becoming. Strength shows up when you realize you're allowed to choose environments that support your growth instead of just tolerating them. Not every relationship is meant for every season. Some people are chapters, not the whole book. Letting that be true without bitterness or drama is a powerful act of self-respect. A lot of times we don't recognize our strength by looking forward. We recognize it by looking back. Think about the moments you thought you wouldn't survive. The heartbreaks, the losses, the seasons where you questioned your worth or your direction. You're still here. That's not luck. That's strength. Strength isn't the absence of fear. Fear shows up for everyone, especially when something matters. Strength is doing the next right thing, while fear sits in the passenger seat giving terrible directions. Fear is dramatic. It panics. It points out every possible disaster and tells you to pull over immediately. Strength doesn't argue with fear. It just keeps its hands on the wheel and says, you can ride along, but you're not going to be driving. Now, the next step doesn't have to be big. Sometimes it's sending the email you've been avoiding. Sometimes it's getting out of bed and taking a shower. Sometimes it's asking for help, setting a boundary, or choosing rest instead of pushing one more time. Strength isn't about leaps. It's about steps, small, steady, imperfect steps taken anyway. And yes, sometimes you fall. And falling is rarely graceful. Sometimes you trip, sometimes you face plant, sometimes you fall in a way that leaves you embarrassed and questioning everything. Strength doesn't pretend the fall didn't hurt. It acknowledges it, learns what it can, and looks for a way forward. Sometimes getting up looks like crawling at first. Sometimes it means needing help standing. And that might be the hardest part for a lot of us. Needing help doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. Well, that's life. Anyone who promises constant winning is selling something. The difference is this: we don't give up, we don't give in, we learn, and we prepare for the next round. Now, in all of our villages, we're going to have those cheerleaders. The people who celebrate our wins without jealousy creeping in. The ones who clap even when the spotlight isn't on them. And here's the mirror moment. Are you cheering for them too? A healthy village isn't transactional, but it is mutual. Knowing your team also means knowing who isn't on it. This isn't about dramatic exits or burning bridges. It's about noticing patterns. Who drains you every time? Who only shows up when they need something? Pay attention to how you feel after conversations. Energy tells the truth even when people don't. Your worth isn't measured by productivity, perfection, or how little help you need. Your worth is inherent. Recognizing your gifts isn't arrogance, it's responsibility. Sometimes you don't realize your strength until someone else points it out. Sometimes belief is borrowed before it's built. That's okay. And for some of you, strength wasn't something you chose. It wasn't a goal. It showed up because there were no other livable options. There are moments in life where every choice hurts, where you would have chosen rest or ease if they were available, but they weren't. In those moments, strength isn't heroic. It's practical. It's breathing again, taking the next step, and getting through the day in front of you. That kind of strength is quiet, unseen, often uncelebrated, but it's real, and it definitely deserves respect. As we wrap up, I want you to pause and take inventory. Not where you thought you'd be, not where you think you should be, but where you actually are. If you're still standing, still trying, still hoping, that's strength, even if it feels tired. If this episode resonated with you, then I hope you'll share it with someone who might be carrying more than they show. Sometimes we don't need advice, we just need to know someone sees us. And if you're wondering whether you're strong enough, here's your reminder. You already are. You've survived things that didn't make headlines but mattered deeply. You have people in your corner, even if it's been quiet. Just remember, strength isn't about doing it alone. It's about knowing when to keep going, when to ask for help, and when to look around and recognize the people who never stopped believing in you. Your village is still there, and you're stronger than you think. So until next time, Take care of yourself and take care of one another. The Acceptance Project podcast is a production of Bridging Success, LLC. To learn more about the podcast and our work, please visit bridgingsuccess.com. This podcast and its contents are for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. I'm Dr. Bryan Gross, but I'm not a licensed therapist. The topics and opinions shared by me and any guests are our own and should not replace professional or medical advice. If you're seeking mental health support, medical guidance, or help with personal matters, please reach out to a licensed professional who can provide the individual support you need.